Congratulations, you're a junk sleeper.
Hey there, my sister, my friend. Welcome to the Dr. Tanya B podcast with me, Dr. Tanya B. I am here to help you be your best, most authentic self, your life, your way. We're going to talk everything self-care, self-love, mindset, and personal growth with a splash of hippie woo. I am proud of you for giving yourself this time today, so let's not waste time and let's dig in. I am here today with my friend and mentor, Elisa Allen. I consider her to be an industry leader in this area that we're talking about. So I'm going to share a little bit about her before I let her talk about herself and what it is that she does. So she started in the fitness and nutrition industry, sort of helping her clients move through those sort of things, and has more recently moved into, and not so recently, moved into what I would consider a more holistic approach that includes sort of the whole body and the mind and the spirit, the things that we talk about here. She helps her clients feel better, healthier, and happier. Living your best life, something that we spend a lot of time talking about here. And I've mentioned a couple of times recently that I am releasing my first book at the end of September. I'm really excited about that. But as you know, it is about self care, taking care of yourself, prioritizing yourself so that you are able to show up for the rest of the world as your best self. So, over the next couple of months, we're going to be spending some time digging into different sections of the book. We are going to talk with some guest experts like the one that we have today and learning a little bit more about those areas. And so today we're going to cover sleep, nutrition, and movement. Those are the things that I do consider the foundations of self-care. If you do not have those pieces in order, those categories all together, the rest of it is not going to work. You might be able to pull it together short term, but it is not sustainable. And so who better to talk to us than the guru herself? And so Elisa, if you want to share with us just a little bit about who you are, what you do, give us some of those background things, and then we can dig into the topics of the day.
Okay, well, thanks for having me. First of all, congrats on
Oh,
the book. That's huge.
thanks so much. Thanks for
That's
being here.
amazing. So, hi, my name's Elisa Allen. I am, first and foremost, I've been a wellness director at a nonprofit, a YMCA, for, I don't know, 10 years now or something. And then I got into one-on-one coaching and learning a little bit more about really what affects people, because most people that come to me, that were coming to me in the gym, it was always the same thing. It was weight loss and to get toned. And there's so much more that goes into that than just calories in, calories out, and exercise. And so I knew I needed to learn more. So I began my deep dives on my own, acquiring education in female metabolism, female hormones. And after that, I still, like, I had more questions and I needed more answers and things that weren't clear. So I bit the bullet and I decided to do decided to pursue and try to get my credentials for functional nutrition and metabolism specialization. And I did that I received my credentials in 2023. And I have been in the mastery program of FNMS, which is functional nutrition and metabolism specialization now,
Oh my
for
gosh.
well over a year.
Yeah.
And I'm learning more every day, learning as I go, and it's just been life changing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
super
don't help
amazing.
people with just weight loss anymore. It's like
Right.
now we're helping with gut issues and autoimmunity and, geez, PCOS, menopause, perimenopause, like low testosterone, you name it.
Yeah.
So that's where
I
I
love
land.
that so much. And I think it's so important for people to hear like where you started. This is not about calories in, calories out. Sure, there might be a little something to that, and you can't gorge yourself on McDonald's every day and expect that you're going to lose weight. Sorry, McDonald's. Maybe there's something there you can't have, but it's more. This is such a large picture, and it's about taking care of your whole body and your whole self so that you are able to get it to the place that you want it to be, whether you're worried about vanity or whether you're worried about health and how you feel. it's a bigger picture. But I think to point out, like, you got this certification in the last year or so, and you've started to really head down this road in a way that's so beneficial for so many people. But you've
Yeah.
been doing this for a really long time. You look 12, but I know you've been doing this for a lot longer than 12 years. So maybe, so you did tell us a little bit about like how you got there and how you started, but tell us a little bit about you and who you are.
Me? Well, I'm 51.
Ooh, me
I,
too.
yeah, I'm a 51 years old woman, menopausal woman. I have a lovely 11-year-old daughter. She is a
Nice.
competitive dancer.
Oh,
Um,
she's
so
so cute, so adorable.
thank you. I am basically that child's unpaid assistant.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I have been, we're not married, but I've been with her dad, 12 or I think it's 13 years this year. So I
Amazing.
just had, my earlier part of my life was really like, it was volatile. I just had a very volatile life. I was
Mhm.
very, 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 lost. I mean, like, don't think I had a bad life. I didn't. I just, everything seemed really insane, obtuse things seemed extremely normal to me. Like,
Mhm.
oh, what,
Of
what
course.
happens? Sometimes you get hit. Oh, well, this is what happens. I struggled with alcohol addiction, drug addiction.
Mhm.
Um, I've been clean for, I don't know, 13 years, 13 years
Mm.
this year. I
Yeah.
don't even know. I don't even count anymore. But yeah, so 13 years in May. I do count. I lied. And
Yes, you do. I know you do.
no, I do. I count. It's 13 years, everyone.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. As you should. You should be very proud of that.
And
Yeah.
so since then, like I remember like way early on, there was this old guy in AA, and I remember one day he said, and I loved him because he always acted out like he would, he had some really good sobriety, but he would just go in there and blow up. And I remember the one day we were sitting in this church basement, like a 10 o'clock Monday morning meeting. He's like, I just want to be the person my dog thinks I am. And
Oh,
it
I
just
love that.
right. And it just
Yeah.
stuck with me forever. And I'm like, yeah, so if I have a gift and I'm able to help people, it's selfish and irresponsible to not share that. So that's why that's why I do what I do. And I think that
Mhm.
it correlates well with what you do.
It
The
sure
system I
does.
use with
Yeah.
people is called best you. So
Yeah.
it's just
And I
great.
think so there's so many things to unpack there. First of all, you and I both love dogs. I take my dog
Yes.
to work with me every day. She's a facility dog now,
Oh,
and is there to support the students that I'm working with. So I absolutely love that. And I know that you do too. I see your dogs in your workouts with you and in your daily life.
obsessed with
And
my
so I love
dogs.
that. But one of the things I want to say to you, and this is important to me, and the reason that you are the first person that is the guest on this show, and I didn't tell you I was going to do this. You I was hoping you would share that piece of your life because you are so open and so willing to share the ugly stuff because none of us is perfect. We've all had some bull crap in our life. I think while you just got done saying it wasn't terrible, I think you probably have had more than your fair share of the bullshit. And I love that you share it so unapologetically. And if people don't like that about you, that's too bad. You're here to serve a purpose and you are serving that purpose for the people that need to
Yeah.
hear from you. And so that landed for me as I started working with you several years ago and started finding out a little bit more and you started sharing you as I was going through this transformation because I was struggling with who I am and showing up
Hmm.
and being honest about who I am in a way that didn't
Yeah.
make me uncomfortable. And I sat there watching you do this in a way that is, like I said, so unapologetic, but also so positive and so happy. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. We're just going to move forward in this great way. I immediately garnered so much respect for you and continue to
Oh,
do that. And that's why I continue to
thank you.
keep you very close in my circle because
Oh,
it's so
thank you.
important, I think, for people to see that and to know that and just to be okay with who you are and what you've been through and know that you can still show up as your best self no matter what's happening in your life and or what has happened in your past. And you can still keep that positive attitude on and still set boundaries and still take care of yourself and not have to sort of give in to what everybody else demands or wants of you. So I love
Yeah,
hearing
that
about
that
you.
what you just said, that's really an honor. Thank you. And when I joined my specialization program, I was a fish out of water and I was so nervous. And I was like, I would get on these Zooms. He teaches twice a week. I have two coaches. They're the two smartest men I've ever even been around. Like, they're people I want to be. I want those brains. And I would sit there. I would always keep my camera on the Zoom, so they know I was like madly writing notes, but I never spoke. And I never submitted a case study, and I never did anything. And then what they did was they started introducing this thing where we had to come on Fridays, and it was chill. It was a laid back call. It was a connections call where we had to share like a piece of, so he does an icebreaker, the very first one I'm on.
Yeah.
So he does this icebreaker, and he's like, tell us something about yourself a lot of people know, but that none of us know. And I'm like, oh boy.
Crap. I hate doing this, but I love hearing everybody else's.
I am Elisa. I'm an alcoholic, just like I was like in a meeting. And I typed it in the chat, and I was like, he's smart. Like, you could tell he's brilliant. And I was like, he will definitely like just wash by this. This is nothing. I'm sure this has been in the group a million times. And he like, Elisa, that is fascinating. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to talk. I'm gonna have to talk to, and not just him. I was petrified to talk to him. And then I had to talk to all of them. And he's like, can you unmute? And I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, well, first of all, congratulations. And oh my gosh, like, tell us a little about this. And I was like, oh my God. But it was the best thing I ever did. Because that's like, sometimes I've always been confident and solid in it since it was for real. You know what I mean? I made a couple attempts at sobriety, folks. I did. And the first time was a fakie. I knew it was a fakie. That one was more for like drugs. And I was going to get off drugs. And then I was like, and then I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do the test. And if I can have drinks without buying cocaine, then that means I can drink alcohol. And this is going to be great. That's a test to most addicts and alcoholics run. And it worked until it didn't. And then, the alcoholism, I can honestly say, was paralyzing compared to like the drug use.
Yeah,
paralyzed.
I'm not surprised.
I was a mess. It's a mess.
Yep.
But yeah, so but once you once you tell and you let it all out there, I was just like, okay. And then the imposter syndrome I felt in that group really went away.
Yeah, so that's what you did for me. Was as I was working through my transformation, I felt like an imposter. I think when I started working with you, and one of your group, the group Facebook groups that we that we were in, that I was in, I was struggling with that. And I think I was at the end of my doctorate program, and
yes, you were.
The imposter syndrome was there, and I did not believe in myself, and I didn't think I was going to get across the finish line. And on top of that, I was struggling with maintaining my own health and well-being because I was working full time, and I was working on this doctorate program and trying to write that damn dissertation, and then having to defend it, which, at that time, speaking publicly and having to defend that was debilitating for me. And I remember at one point you saying, Doc, what are you talking about? Like, you've got this. This is nothing for you. And me going, wait a minute, do I have this? I think I might have this. She believes I can do it, so I must be able to do this. And so just that, like, that persona that you put out there, and that confidence and that positivity changed my life.
But you also need to caveat that with, you were absolutely the most successful person in that group.
Okay.
Magical. It was magical.
Yeah, but I was buying in, though. Like, I was buying in. It was what I needed. Right.
Just want to put that out there.
I appreciate that. And I've sent lots of people your way since then, because I believe in you and what you're doing. So speaking of that, let's dig in, right? So we're here to talk about those foundations. And so for me, those foundations are sleep, nutrition, and movement. And those are the things I really want to make sure that we're hitting. But I think that you also have some things that you want to talk to or talk about, because they fall in to the foundation just as much. So I think let's start with sleep. And like, what do you think? What do we need to do?
Okay, so everybody out there, here's what you need to know. I am a sleep Nazi. I would
Mhm.
say of all the foundational pillars, I am absolutely rigid, insane with my sleep schedule. I am obsessed with good sleep because since I made this a focus, my health markers have improved. I feel optimal. I'm not sluggish. I don't have excess weight around my middle. All of the problems that I had for years that were associated, what I thought, with I'm not doing the right exercise, I'm not working hard enough, or I'm not eating the right food, I'm not strict enough, all of that was bullshit. And once I made sleep a priority, all of the things started clicking for me. And that is
Yep.
sleep. I will say this, sleep is the most underrated used tool in a fitness transformation, in a body transformation, in any kind of transformation. It is completely overlooked and it is your most important tool.
I wish people could see me because my head is like, yes, 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 yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. I also
Yeah.
am a Nazi about my sleep. Like,
Right.
it's not a thing I'm willing to mess with. I have tested it time and time again. I know that I need 7 hours and 5 minutes of sleep. That is where I need to be. And without that, I know that I'm not a good person and I'm
No,
not going to make good choices. It's just not going to happen. I'm
you
tired.
are
And
not.
so we're going to grab whatever we need to grab.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
So sleep, just so everybody out there knows, just so you know that sleep actually regulates the stress response in your body. Okay. It prevents HPA axis dysfunction. And your HPA axis is your hypothalamus, your brain, sending a message to your adrenal glands. Okay. And those are your stress hormones. That is where the production of cortisol, I know y'all have heard that, it's a huge buzzword, comes from, is the adrenals. Okay. Uh, it helps with cortisol control. It also controls insulin sensitivity. And what I mean by insulin sensitivity is this. This is how well you tolerate carbohydrates. There are people in different metabolic states, and you will see, and most times, almost 100% of the time, that we are in a state of insulin resistance. Your body is not able to use this. Okay. When you are insulin sensitive, that's a good thing. We don't want to be resistant. We want to be insulin sensitive. Proper sleep, proper circadian hygiene aids in insulin sensitivity. It's huge.
Mhm.
And the thing is, your body wants to be on circadian rhythm. Your body wants to be asleep when it's supposed to be asleep, and it wants to be awake when it's supposed to be awake. All of your organs and all but two of your hormones are on circadian rhythm. Like, this is the way we are supposed to operate. We're supposed to be active in the daylight and down in down at night. Like, think of
Yeah.
yourself as cavemen or women. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So
can you talk more about the circadian rhythm and what does that mean?
okay. So circadian rhythm is it just means circadian rhythm means day. It's like a day cycle.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we have there is time, there's daytime, and there's nighttime, everybody. And circadian rhythm is paramount for optimization of your hormones, for muscle protein synthesis, for everything good that is going to happen to you is based on circadian rhythm. Your body needs to be on circadian rhythm. And where we see dysfunction, we will see HPA axis dysfunction, i.e., a stress cadet. If you are a stress cadet, there is a very good chance these are your symptoms. Number one, you're exhausted when you wake up.
Mhm.
Number two, you are wired but tired before you go to bed.
Yep.
If you've ever felt this, if you have ever felt wired but tired in the evening, like I am absolutely exhausted, but I cannot sleep, and you're like, thinking about everything under the sun, making lists on the side of your bed because you cannot sleep,
Mhm.
you are having a little bit of HPA axis dysfunction. And this is a problem because that means we are having some adrenal insufficiencies. We are not having a normal cortisol production because the thing is, everybody out there villainizes cortisol. It's not a bad hormone, and it is absolutely completely necessary. First of all, about an hour after you wake up every morning, what we're looking for is a high cortisol response. That's called CAR, cortisol awakening response. Okay. So if you had a robust, healthy sleep schedule, a robust, healthy circadian hygiene schedule, you would have this huge, cortisol push in the morning. And then throughout the day, cortisol will lessen. It will lower, becoming extremely low in the PM because melatonin wants to kick in. Okay. Melatonin is a secondary hormone. If cortisol is high, by the way, cortisol is a primary hormone. He gets the say. If cortisol is high in the PM, melatonin cannot kick in. They completely oppose each other. That's that wired but tired. So if we have elevated cortisol in the evening, there's probably some dysregulation there. And this is not only throwing off your sleep schedule, but this is putting you in a higher stress state, which is going to make everything worse.
And then it just turns into this evil cycle.
Yeah, because you can't look at these things in a vacuum. Like lack of sleep is a stress on the body. Your genome, your hormones, all of your organs, they need rest. If you are a person who's physically active, the muscle building synthesis comes from the recovery. It comes from the rest of the body. We can't, and you'll see this a lot with women that are chronic overexercisers, undereaters. There's such extreme stress on the body. The body is completely riddled with inflammation. And this woman, you'll look at this poor lady and she's like, my God, I'm eating 1,000 calories a day and I can't lose a pound.
Yeah.
Because the body can't take anymore.
Yeah.
Your
body's freaking out.
Yeah. And your body has also never had an upgrade. Your body is not the iPhone, right? So this is the same body that the women that were cave women had. Okay. So stress is fine when you're running from a saber-toothed tiger. Yes, it's good. It's good to be stressed out then. It's good for your body to be a little more acidic then, because, if the tiger bites you, you're not going to taste good. But what happens when the body's under chronic stress is it affects all the other things in the endocrine system. So high stressed woman, right? Completely high stressed. I will ask them, how's libido? I could take it or leave it. Okay. What would be the first thing to go if you were in a situation and you were a cave woman? Say you were in a situation where resources were scarce. Okay. There's no food. You're always having to run from different stressors.
Yeah.
Here's what would happen. Your body would say, okay, there is no food here. There are no resources. I'm going to downregulate thyroid to conserve energy. So that's your body's way of keeping you safe. And then your body's going to say, hold on a minute. Let's talk to the ovaries. Hey, no signal to the ovaries. This is not a place to raise a child. This is an extremely stressful situation. So a lot of times we'll see these women who've been chronically dieting, chronically exercising their entire adult lives. Talked to a lady the other day, 30 years she's been dieting. 30 years since she was 20 years old. She just turned 50 on Sunday.
Ugh.
And the thing is, that has created a stress on her system. She has absolutely no libido.
Sure.
And her thyroid numbers have tanked. The body has down.
Talk about the fun that you're having in that life, right? There's no fun. You're not enjoying it. You're such a slave to what it is, like those base minimums and the stress that's coming out of that.
Well, that's what I mean. And you're existing for everyone but you.
Yep.
And that's another mistake that women make. Like, I can't. My son has practice. I can't. I have to run my daughter to dance. I can't. When am I going to get caught up with this laundry? And you just turn into this shell of who could be.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that towards the end of this month on the podcast as we hit the summit, because we forget how to enjoy ourselves. We forget what we used to like. I think that you asked me, probably were one of the first people that asked me this question at one point. I was like, what did you do when you were a kid for enjoyment? And I was like, I don't know anymore. Like, it's been a really long time since I've done that and I don't have fun anymore. So I have to figure out what that is again. And since then I figured it out.
Yeah. But that's the case for most women.
Yeah, I think so too. Like we just don't know how to set these boundaries and create these priorities around ourselves that mean we aren't showing up the way we should be showing up.
No, and you have to. I mean,
Yeah.
for your own health and
Mhm.
well-being, for you to honestly like, especially, and that's the thing with women too. Like we figure like, and this is what I love when most women work with me. It always starts with a weight loss goal.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
But
all
then we
about
get
the
into
vanity. Mhm.
yeah,
My pants
and
don't
then
fit.
great. Then we get into it and they start feeling better. And
Mhm.
they like the bloat is gone, the gut issues are gone, the
Yep.
inflammation is lowering, they're sleeping, they're doing fun activities that keep them in the present.
Yeah.
And like I'll be like, okay,
Yeah.
well, it's time we could cut. And they're like, I'm
That's
good.
okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
And because then that turns around into like, not only are you feeling better, you're enjoying life, which means that you get to feel better about the choices that you're making because they're the right choices that keep you on that positive cycle versus the evil
Yes.
sort of cycle that we were just talking about.
Yes.
I love it. All right. So how do we make that happen? How do we get the sleep that that we should be getting?
How do we make that happen? Okay, the first things first is you have to have a nice sleep schedule. Okay,
Hmm.
first and foremost, you need girls and boys. Y'all have to have a work cutoff time. Okay.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
cannot be answering emails at home. It's done.
Hmm.
No, you're not
Yep.
going to keep giving to this company because let me tell you something, they're not giving to you. You're not
That's true
getting,
story.
they're not sending soup on your sick days.
Yep.
They're not really
Yep.
doing anything. So here's the thing. When work's done, we're done. The emails will wait. Everybody's going to live.
Hmm.
Everyone's going to live. I mean, the possible exception would be if you're a doctor on call.
Yep. Yep. There might be one or two, but there aren't
Yeah,
many.
there's very few. Work cutoff time
Yeah.
is first. Now, to to get yourself robust circadian hygiene, to get yourself a nice sleep schedule, the first thing that has to happen is a wind down routine. So
Mhm.
I like this about an hour and a half before bed. Okay, we need a little wind down routine. We need to do
Yep.
something to signal to the body, oh,
Mhm.
it's getting time to go to bed. So the important thing to do here is like things that are calming. So if you're watching TV, first of all, you should have blue blockers on.
I was gonna ask you
So
about those. Perfect. Yep.
yeah, you do not need that
Mhm.
light hitting your eyes.
Mhm.
Also, overhead lighting is extremely bright. I recommend table lamps. In my sleeping room, I actually use a red light bulb. You don't have to go crazy like
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, I
Okay.
love it. Um,
Mhm.
so what you want is like soft light hitting your eye, not that blinding overhead light like that's hitting me now, but I actually have blue blockers on.
So talk
But
about that because I think they're pretty popular these days. Like it's
yes,
pretty trendy, but just in case people don't know what blue blockers are,
so
what are they? Yeah.
if you did not know, your optic nerve in your eye and your skin are light sensitive. We will see a lot of people who use their phone as their alarm clock. If
Mhm.
that phone is on not on do not disturb or not on the dawn to dusk setting, because you know you can set that on iPhone where it's dim,
Mhm.
it dims at night.
Yep.
Um, People will have junk sleep. They will have interrupted sleep. They will not have delta sleep. They will not have REM sleep. They will not have deep sleep. And
Mhm.
you wake feeling exhausted because basically this little thing that is your alarm clock is hitting you with light all night long, and your skin is sensitive to it, and so is your optic nerve. So even though your eyes are shut, did you ever do that? Did you ever shut your eyes in like a room and you can still see the light?
Mhm.
Like I'm
Sure.
doing like yeah. I mean, obviously the light's on here.
I'm
Um,
making faces at Elisa, but she can't see it.
yeah. But so the first things first, put that phone on do not disturb. Now you can set
Mhm.
that phone so important people can break through. Like
Yep.
Tanya, if your son was out, and
Mhm.
driving and was coming home, you could have it so he could break through if God forbid, he
Mhm.
needed you or needed
Yep.
your husband. And
Yep.
you can do that, you guys. But for the general public, you don't need to be on that phone all the time. We are
Mhm.
so it's almost like a dopamine hit. We're so
Mhm.
attached to our phones, like a rat with cheese, like when they did those studies, what was that? Pavlov's dogs. It's like
Yep.
that, like it's an instant dopamine hit. It's such a natural thing. We just look, Facebook, what's going on?
Yep. And the
Um,
next thing you know, you're 45 minutes deep and wide
you're
awake.
45 minutes down a hole on
Yep.
TikTok about Skittles.
Yep.
Like, and then here we are. We're supposed to be resting and we're having all this light and this craziness hitting our eyeballs. So for
Yep.
me, a nice wind down routine, you could do a meditation. That's your specialty, my dear.
Sure
So a
enough.
nice nighttime meditation, some
Yep.
breath work. Tanya, I know
Mhm.
you're big on breath work.
I totally am. Yep.
Those are that is actually so breath work and meditation is actually signaling to the body,
Mhm.
okay,
Yep.
let's take it easy.
Mhm.
Okay. We don't need to be right brain all day. This is rest and digest. This is
Mhm.
time. These are the ways that
Yep.
you show your body that you love it.
Yep. 100%. I do my like I don't always do the same thing in terms of a wind
Right.
down routine, but it always happens. And I'll spend between 30 and 90 minutes depending on what the day looks like.
Perfect.
And so it could look like meditation, it could look like breath work, it could look like
Yeah.
journaling. I'm not a huge journaler, but sometimes I need it. There's another person that I follow that calls it rage on the page. Sometimes you just need to get some shit out so that you can
Yes.
let it go. And it might look like I'm just reading. Like
Yes.
I'm just gonna do a little bit of reading, not
Yeah.
with the TV on. There's no TV happening in my bedroom. Or it
Good.
might just be like a little bit of conversation or a little bit of snuggling with the dog or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's about disconnecting and starting to shut down a little bit and slowing down so that you're creating those signals so that
Yeah. You're
you're starting
signaling
to
to
sleep.
your brain and body it's time to rest.
Mhm.
And then after we do our wind down routine, a lot of times I'll do my face care, my teeth, catching up
Mhm.
with my kid,
Mhm.
um, taking, just a very light because I'm 51. So I really watch my intake of fluids after 7 p.m. I don't want to be just
Yep.
have disrupted sleep and have to wake up to
Same.
pee.
Yep. Same.
Um, that's a new thing. Another big thing that a lot of people miss is the caffeine cutoff. So caffeine's half
Mm.
life is 6 hours.
Hmm.
So if you are having a coffee at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to keep you awake and stimulated, that could
Yeah.
be having effects at
Yeah.
9 p.m. If you metabolize slowly, it could be
Yeah.
11.
Yep.
So that was a huge one for me. And I do that. I do caffeine cutoff now at noon. That's
Mhm.
mine. So I would say 3 p.m., but noon for me, I'm a nooner.
Yeah, that's a big one for me too. I have always
Yeah.
been super sensitive to caffeine, and if I have anything past lunchtime, I'm in big trouble, and I know it. And once in a while, I
Yeah.
really want an afternoon iced coffee, and I will then at midnight lay in bed going, "Why can't I get to sleep?" And then I will remember that I did this to myself and I deserved it
Yeah.
because I knew what was going to happen. So I'm
Yeah.
very careful not to do that. Like 1 or 2 cups of coffee in the
Mhm.
morning that's my limit. I don't do beyond
Yeah.
that for the most part.
Yeah. And people will say you will run into somebody always that says, it doesn't
Mm,
bother me. I can have
yeah,
a cup of
yep,
coffee at 8 o'clock at night.
yeah,
I can go right to sleep.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
And
You
you're not
might
getting
feel like
sleep.
you're sleeping, but you're not getting
No,
good sleep.
you're
It's
not
not
getting
healthy, it's not
not getting REM sleep. It is junk
Yeah,
sleep.
yep.
Congratulations, you're a junk sleeper.
That's what my
I love
office
that.
mate.
Congratulations.
Yeah, my office mate's always like, coffee doesn't affect me. I'm like, oh, sis, it's
Mm,
affecting me. You
okay,
don't know it,
okay.
but I see you.
Perfect. So
But
sleep hygiene is it's one of my favorite things to talk about because not
me too.
so we still my husband is in the house, obviously, and then we still have our 19-year-old son in the house. The other boys have moved on, but they think that I'm crazy when I talk about this. They don't think that it's important, but yet when I change things for them and in their life without them even recognizing it, I realize they sleep better. So for me, that room is dark. If there
But
are lights or noises coming from other places in this house, somebody's going to know that I am not happy. And the other thing that's really important to me, and I think that this might allude to something else that you might talk about here in a minute, is there's always a window cracked, and it's usually the window that's closest to me
mhm.
because I don't care if it's negative 20 degrees. I need a
Mm,
little bit of fresh air. Just
air.
give me an extra blanket. I need that nature and the smells and just what's happening out there and that freshness, or else
Yeah.
I just don't sleep as well. If the air conditioner is on, I don't care. There's still a window open so that I can get that. And there's always a ceiling fan going. I don't necessarily
Yes.
need like white noise. I prefer
Oh.
really totally quiet. I do sleep with some meditations or will fall asleep
Mhm.
to some meditations, but mostly I'm down for just complete quiet, complete
Yeah.
dark, a little bit of air movement. What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
So
What else do you have for sleep hygiene?
okay, so after your wind down routine, then you set a bedtime. And what you want to do is you want
Mhm.
to be very consistent with your bedtime. You want to go to bed around the same time every night, even on weekends. This is where we get those weekend warriors,
Yeah.
and this can be problematic. Within an hour of bedtime on weekends, you do not need to be staying up late. You're not doing anything productive. Stop it. Just stop it right now. You're not doing it. I
Yeah.
can't. I can't
Yeah.
listen to it because you're not doing anything good. You're
Yep.
not.
Yeah. And it's not helping for the next day
No.
either.
So what we want to do is we want to have a bedtime. So say your wind down routine, you start that at 9 and you decide lights out at 10. So lights out at 10, that means lights out at 10. It is a cold, dark room. We're looking for
Mhm.
67 degrees, 65, 67, 69 max.
Yep. Yep.
Blackout curtains if necessary. This is important and most people miss this one. Sleep or the bed is for sleep and sex only.
Oh,
Do not
I
live
like
in
the
your bed.
caveat there, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Do not
Yeah,
live in your bed.
we're not
Like,
hanging out, yeah.
no, you don't need to be having meals in there and doing crazy stuff and having snuggles with everybody. No, it is for sleep
Yep.
and sex only. That is it. That is just a place we work.
Hmm. There is work to be done in this
There's
space.
work to be done in this bed. It's either sleeping or sexing. That's it.
Yep, I
Okay.
like it. We're not watching TV, we're not
No,
hanging with the fam, we're not eating
no.
dinner. I
And
like
then
it.
what we want to do
Yeah.
is we want to try to, cold, dark room. Like I said, cut off drinks. Another really good thing to do is to try to avoid the late night snacks. Your body doesn't
Mm,
need to be doing all that work when it's time to rest.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because
I'll
that's
have a
when, like, we're resetting, right? Like,
yeah.
we need to have
We
the
don't need
time
to
to
be
do
working.
that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So I will have so if I go to bed at 9 p.m., my food cutoff time, I'll cut off food at 6 p.m. Boom.
Mhm.
Like I sort of eat on circadian rhythm. I call it a circadian.
I
Actually,
like it.
that's
Yeah.
programmed in my thing is circadian eating. Um, because I don't want to be digesting while I'm asleep. The other thing is too, if your body is digesting, it is extremely hard to get your body temperature down,
Mm.
which is disrupted sleep. When your body
Mhm.
temperature is high from things like alcohol
Yep.
and food,
And
you
some
can't
of us
relax.
that are hitting a certain age might be getting a
Yes,
little warm throughout the night.
yes, yes. That could be
Yeah.
happening too. So that's why
Mhm.
this makes sleep hygiene even more imperative. And then if we're going to bed at the same time every night, what we'd like to do is we'd like to get up around the same time every day.
Mhm.
Now, you can put a cherry on that. And this is my favorite thing because this is like life changing for people is morning sun. Okay, so I told you guys
Mm.
about that cortisol awakening response. I will recommend to my clients, okay, especially if this is like brand new to us. Okay, I need you within a half an hour of waking up to go outside and get your face in morning sun. It doesn't matter if it's cloudy. It's not bright enough to do skin cancer damage out at
Mhm.
that time of day, right? It's
Mhm.
just not high enough in the sky.
Yep.
And it senses to your body, your eyes, and your skin, this is daylight. It's time to be awake. And this is going to do is this is going to sort of solidify that cortisol awakening response I told you about. That kicks in about an hour after waking, cortisol awakening response. But this
Mhm.
will help you to develop this really healthy circadian hygiene. And I will promise you, if you get out in morning sun, and I'm not talking, you don't have to be out there 20 minutes. I mean, that's great if you have the
Yep.
time. If it's 5 or 10 minutes, that's fantastic. Just go like somewhere in your yard you love and have a cup of coffee or just like do your scrolling that you're no longer doing at night. Then just get your
Well,
little face
I'm
out
gonna say no to that because like,
there.
sure, people are gonna do what they want, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna add my little flair of hippie woo on this one. So if you go outside first thing in the morning, if you can do it bare feet even in the middle of winter when it's
Yeah.
cold outside, if your feet are hitting the ground on top of pulling in that sunshine from up above, so you are grounding,
Grounded.
oh my gosh, there is so much goodness that comes into that and the energetic systems that we've got and the work that I do in terms of like the energy in your body and your chakra systems and all of those sorts of things. If
Oh,
you
cool.
can just spend a couple of minutes doing that every day, it is one of the best things you'll ever do for yourself.
Yeah. And it's just like that's your insurance policy, getting in that morning
Mhm.
sun, even if it's cloudy.
Yep.
You guys, it's sunny. Get out there. Just look
Yeah.
look to where the sun should be on a cloudy day. It is still helping you to develop this amazing, healthy circadian hygiene, which is going to
Mhm.
help you. And honestly, if you are a person who's extremely stressed, just these two things are going to be life changing for you and getting you out of that fight or flight and getting you out of that always, it's you'll start to become tired in the evening. The wired will go away. You'll feel awake in the morning. Like most days I wake up without my alarm, but I actually I don't sleep with my phone in my room. I actually use one of those Philips daylight alarms.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's
like I
awesome.
said, like it's just a practice like anything else you would be working on.
Mhm.
And this one, I always say, don't sleep on sleep. Do not sleep
Mm.
on sleep.
Mhm.
So many,
Yeah.
so many
It's
amazing benefits.
Yeah. I've just had over my lifetime so many examples of missing sleep. Maybe it was one night, maybe it was a couple of nights, and we all have our seasons in life, small kids, work things,
Yeah,
whatever it is that interferes, and sometimes it's legitimate,
yeah,
especially like sick kids, those kinds of things will get in the way. But the number of times that I can count lack of sleep and what that impact was on my day, whether that is a short temper or I just am stressed out or I'm dumb, so dumb. I can't put two sentences together without
brain
feeling
fog.
like there's nobody that understands what I'm talking about right now, let alone myself. And so it's so important to me that I think it's
Yeah.
something we should spend a lot of time and
Not
energy
only
to make
that,
sure that we get it right.
it also
Mhm.
triggers your hedonic eating system. So there's the homeostatic system,
Mm,
and that's the system that is like for you to exist. That's
yep.
like, okay, we're just eating these, using these resources to live. And then there's the hedonic system, which it really is what it sounds like. It's hedonism.
Amazing. Yeah,
um,
amazing.
and that when you have lack of sleep, the hedonic system is triggered. You will find, like, think back to a day that you just got terrible sleep, whether your fault or absolutely no fault of your own. You are less likely to grab a salad with grilled chicken, but you are heck likely to order from the local pizza shop with everybody in the office.
Yep.
Or when you all go out to lunch that day, you don't get your big ass salad, you get the burger and fries. It's
Yep.
happening. It triggers the hedonic system.
Yeah, it makes
It does.
perfect sense. Perfect
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So you shared earlier before we got on our call
Uh-huh.
about a study that talks about a little bit more about those circadian rhythms. Do you want to share that real quick?
Oh, the camping studies?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fascinating.
I will have to look on PubMed to get you the actual study number.
I
But
think just the gist of it is good for now.
okay, so the gist is this. They took a bunch of people with insomnia, and I mean crazy insomnia. Like these people are up at night. They're like literally re-wallpapering the living room.
Hmm.
Folks can't sleep. Bad chronic insomnia. And what they do is they take them camping. They take them to the woods. Okay, in tents. This is designed, there's absolutely no artificial light. There is no phones. There is no flashlights. There is just daylight and campfire. Those
Can
are
you
the two
imagine?
lights. Daylight, campfire. That's all they have. No flashlight, no cell phone, no anything. What they have found is that insomnia has become was better, like ended, gone. These
Mhm.
people are not having insomnia anymore after a couple of days in these camping studies. Most got a full night's rest the first night and the second night. But the cool thing is, 6 months later, when they return to these people in their homes with all their normal stuff going on in life, who are abstaining from all those crazy lights and stuff at night, these
Mhm.
people are still sleeping well.
That's to me almost insanity. And it comes back to like I have this whole soapbox about people medicating things that they could fix, but they refuse to fix them. And so, we don't wait a minute. We don't need melatonin. We don't need the prescription. We don't need all the things. And I'm not saying that there aren't people that don't need that. That's not that might be a doctor, but I'm not that
But
kind
they
of
could
doctor.
try this,
Yeah.
right?
But there is something you can do for yourself. And it comes back to your sleep hygiene. You can probably fix this if you really wanted to.
you could at least make a solid effort, and then maybe
Right.
find some natural supplementation to help you in the PM. But the thing is, you
Yeah.
guys, like, think about it. If you're ever at the beach with your family, think about a day on the beach. The sun's just a shining on all you guys, and you're really not doing much. You're sitting in your
Mhm.
beach chair, you're reading, you're eating peanut butter sandwiches, and at the end of the day, you're wiped. And you're like,
Yep.
oh my gosh, why am I? That natural sun is so much brighter. Like, there is no light that is as bright as the sun.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. And it literally wipes you out. Why? Because you were in all that daylight and now it's time to sleep.
Mhm. So good. So
Yes,
good. Okay. I think we did a good job covering sleep.
me too.
Let's move to nutrition.
Okay.
So I'm guessing you're going to tell us that we have to do something insane. We have to go on a keto diet. We have to be completely sugar-free, dairy-free, flour, grain-free, all of the things. We have to be absolutely abstain from anything we might ever love in our entire lives.
No.
Thank you.
You So I want you guys to remember all of those things that Tanya just mentioned. Those are all toggles that can be pulled here and there. Now,
Mhm.
if you have like an autoimmunity, if you
Mhm.
had something like that where like molecular mimicry is going to happen, and maybe it would be good to abstain from dairy or gluten, if in a case with Hashimoto's, these are different type things. That's a different strategy to get rid of a different symptom.
Mhm.
No, for all of us out here, we live in a highly processed world, especially in America. The restrictions aren't even close to like the restrictions in the EU. That's
Mhm.
why everybody's scared of that oatmeal post, we see online where it's like, oatmeal in the UK and this is what we eat. Yeah, because they have tremendous restrictions over there and we do not. A
Mhm.
lot of people who are celiac over here can eat the pasta in Italy. It's only made with 4
That's just
ingredients.
crazy to me.
Insane,
Unbelievable.
because the
Mhm.
food is so clean. So the goal here for us is, let's not take things away. Let's think of all of the things we can add in. For
Mhm.
one, we what we want to do is we want to try to eat whole foods. Okay? So things like proteins. And I'm not saying lean protein. If you're a steak loving mama, eat your steaks. That's fine. I've been eating hamburgers for I think 3 weeks straight. I can't stop eating hamburgers.
It's
Um,
that time of year for us.
I cannot stop. I cannot stop eating hamburgers. I had one tonight before this. Anyway,
Nice. I
so what
haven't had mine yet, but that's what I'm having for dinner.
you love hamburgers. You do. I know that about you.
You
So
do know
here's the
that.
thing, you guys. It doesn't have to be this rigid food either. Like, it doesn't have. So you're like, oh, I know what she's saying. Chicken breast and broccoli. Sure, here and there, but I mean, like,
Mhm.
I haven't had a piece of chicken breast in probably 6 months. Like, that is not something in my repertoire because I come from a huge diet background
Yep.
culture. It's
Mhm.
not appetizing to me.
Yep.
I'll eat a leg. I'll eat a thigh. Sure. But
Yeah.
no, I'm not. No. So what we want to think about is things that you can pronounce everything on the label. Okay.
Mhm.
So you're looking at a label and like, okay. So for example, like there's a popcorn I eat. It's called Lesser Evil. I think there's
Mm.
3 ingredients. So if I look at the side of my popcorn, it says coconut oil. I know what that is. It's an MCT oil. It's not highly inflammatory. Corn. I know what corn is. Himalayan pink salt. I know what all of those
Sweet.
things are. So even though this is a little snackier, there's 3 ingredients in there, but that is a single ingredient food because I know what every single one of those items is. That's what I'm
Mhm.
saying. This is the
Yeah.
problem. We go too rigid too much.
Mhm.
Like, think about all those women, all those years that stopped eating bananas because they were high in carbs. Essentially, robbing yourself of essential micronutrients, robbing yourself of the amazing electrolyte potassium,
Yep.
robbing yourself of that, and eating a protein bar made from God knows what,
Yep.
all in
Yep.
the name of high
I
carbs.
think that was one of the earlier things that you called me out on is, I would not, I was so afraid of fruit and what that would do to me was
Yeah,
I'm trying, as I'm doing this binge eating. But then I would turn around and do exactly that, binge on my cheeseburger and french fries,
sure.
followed by dessert or a Snickers bar or something
Yeah,
crazy like that. When a
exactly.
banana would have been satisfying and
Yeah,
also so good for me.
delicious. Right.
Yeah.
And there's it's now easier than ever. Like you can, and then dry rubs, spices, and it's
Hmm.
okay to have a little bit of ketchup. It's
Yep.
also okay to eat a potato. Like say you wanted a baked potato and you wanted a little sour cream on that. Okay.
Do
Maybe
it.
some butter. We know what's in all that. We know what's in there.
You're talking crazy.
I know this is crazy talk, but I would rather. I always tell you what, when I get a food log from a client, I ask for a 7 to 10 day food log, and the first thing I look
Mm.
for patterns of eating. Is there rushed eating? Is there anything like that? And then I look at the quality. If this is a person who's a strong dieter, it is all processed health food.
Yep.
If this is a person who is gluten free, they feel so deprived from gluten free. There
Hmm.
is 55,000 different gluten free cookies, gluten free pizza, gluten free rolls. And as you guys know, bread is highly processed. I mean, it's okay, but just the nature of creating that,
Hmm.
it's highly processed. So I would prefer my clients to have a piece of like yummy bread that I could read all the ingredients in than, the 647 bun.
Hmm.
And people are like, what?
But I thought we were supposed to eat the 647 bun.
That's too high in carbs.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's also high in fiber and it's high in micronutrients and it's high in vitamin A and vitamin K.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
that's what we don't think about. We're so worried about the macros that we completely ignore the micros.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
when
Yeah.
you eat single ingredient foods, and I'm not talking all the time, you guys, I don't want you to have this miserable life. Like 80/20.
Hmm.
Like if 80% of your food, we can pronounce all the ingredients on the label, sure, throw in some treats. It's
Yep.
okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think for me, the hardest thing on this was, and probably the thing that created the biggest change and effect for me was my mindset. So I had to stop thinking about what I can't have and start thinking about what I can have,
And
and then
have.
creating enjoyment around that. So it
Yes.
came back to like enjoying cooking again, which is not something that I really love to do because it's time consuming. I'm a
Sure.
decent cook, but it takes time. So
Yeah.
finding the things that I can cook and prep and deal with ahead
Yeah.
of time. I usually
Yeah.
only cook 1 or 2 times a week, and then we fill in with some other like meals
Yeah.
and things that we order. But also they're healthy whole foods versus we're ordering out and getting a sub or a hoagie or something along those lines.
Right.
But focus that making that focus on this is what I can this is what I get to enjoy. That's the line, right? Like this is
Yeah.
what I get to
Yeah.
enjoy. This is the opportunity that I have to serve my
Right.
body and honor my body in a way that is going to make me feel better.
Right.
And I do that first. And so the majority of my day is spent first doing this. And then I can
Yeah.
have a little special treat. And then I can have a little extra thing or, a little snack here
Yeah.
or
Front
whatever
load
that
it.
is.
Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so maybe you're a person who comes from a long history of processed food. It's just the nature of
Mhm.
how we all grew up. I know I
Yep.
did.
Yep.
So
Me
like
too.
I always have to have a little sweet something after I eat. So what I
Yeah.
do is I'll say to myself, all right, you better eat all that protein. You better eat all those vegetables
Mhm.
and you better eat that rice. And then if
Yep.
you're still hungry, go ahead. Have
Yep.
peanut butter
Exactly.
if you
And
must.
vegetables are a struggle for me. Like I will eat all of the things except for and including the fruit, but the vegetables I have to put some
Yeah.
effort into that. I will if I cook them correctly, I'm fine, but
Yeah.
I have to
That's
make
the
an effort.
problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just something I have to do and I have to be focused on
Yeah. And
it.
like they have such good, like the thing is like, I don't know. I think I had 256 grams of watermelon today, which seems like a lot. Like, I mean,
It does
I think
seem like a lot.
I, I feel like my protein was, I don't know, 100, maybe 100 20 grams like for that particular meal. And then for dessert, I had watermelon. It ended up, it was 256 grams.
Nice.
And
That actually
what is
sounds
it? Like,
delicious though.
I
Yeah.
don't even know what that is. Like maybe 40, 80
I feel
calories.
like tradition, if you're having a cheeseburger followed up with some watermelon, that's so traditional American picnic food. I
Yeah.
wish I was
I
I
mean,
wish I was there with you.
that's what I mean. Like, you're not really doing that bad out there, you guys. Just the
Yeah.
thing is, just like we said with this, with anything, we want too much too fast. Like, I have to restrict. Restricting is super sexy.
Mhm.
Like, it's sexy to restrict your food. Like, oh, look what she can do. Look what he does. Wow,
Yeah.
is
No,
that
I'm not
it?
into it. Not
Yeah.
into it at all.
So you guys, I had today, okay, it was 150 grams today, and it was 45 calories.
So about what is that for a serving? Like about how much of that?
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go to yesterday's. I had 216 grams. Okay, hold on. 64 calories, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Like a bowl like this.
So like a more than a cereal bowl.
I'd say like
Probably more than an ice cream bowl.
Yeah, way more than an ice cream bowl. Definitely, like I carry it in this big salad bowl, and I had half yesterday, and obviously 3/4 yesterday, and
Yeah.
a fourth today.
Perfect. But also
yeah,
then you get some enjoyment out of that because it's a sweet and it feels good, but
delicious.
also it's good for you. It's not terrible for you.
No, and that's the thing too. Like, I mean, you don't realize, like, you can have so much more to eat.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you don't feel like it's not like sitting down and binging on like Lay's. It's
Right.
different. It hits different. It feels
Yeah.
different.
It's more satiating.
Yeah.
It fills you up longer, all of the things.
And you get essential micronutrients.
Yes. Who would have
Perfect.
thought? Who would have
Who
thought?
would
How
have?
about water? Do we need to drink water?
We do, but water's big for digestion. Water aids in digestion. Is there like a fixed amount you should have?
Mhm.
No. You can way overhydrate. You want to
Yep.
make sure you're also keeping up with your electrolytes, especially this time of year when it's 90
Yeah.
degrees out
Yep.
and you're outside and you're getting in that day's sunlight. You can feel pretty bad pretty quickly.
Yep.
And a lot of people become hypernutremic, which is like you're low sodium, right?
Mhm.
And that's dangerous. And it gives you feelings like you're kind of having a heart attack or a stroke or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah,
And
super stressful.
yeah. And so you just want to make sure that like you can add a little bit of water to or a little bit of salt to your water, or there's plenty of companies that make hydration packs. I know Element is very clean. They don't use added sugar. They do a really nice job, and their salts are delicious.
Perfect. I
Yeah.
think that was something else you broke for me. I think I had been not long before I found you, I'd been on this ridiculous diet with no calories, and you had
Oh
to
yeah.
drink more than your weight in ounces of water. And I
Oh
mean,
my
it
God.
was insane. And so I was just like, I was not healthy because I was drinking a ridiculous amount of water and
Yeah.
struggling with it. And then up all night because I had to go to the bathroom all night, which was
Yeah.
affecting my sleep and just creating
Right.
this whole thing. And you were like, knock it off. Just drink water when
Love
you're
it.
thirsty. And I was like, I can't do
Yeah.
that. And it took me a little while to figure
It's
that
for
out, but
thirst.
it
Yeah.
works.
Drink for
Like
thirst.
it literally works.
Yeah. It does. It works. Just drink when you're thirsty. You don't have to
Yeah.
finish
Yeah.
Stanley
That's all you
twice
need.
a day.
That's all you need. You don't need to
Mhm.
carry your gallon jug around. It's not a thing that
No.
has to happen. I
No.
often, almost always have water or
Yeah.
water in my lemon in my water. It's just a thing
Nice.
I enjoy. And I think it's good
Good.
for you. It's a little pH balance. And so it's just something that I do.
It's fun.
So awesome.
Good for you. Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Nutrition?
I think just start small and keep it simple. Like, keep
Mm.
low hanging fruit.
Mhm.
Start small. Think about foods you enjoy.
Yep.
Think about fruits you enjoy, vegetables you enjoy, and put little things in place. Like, be like, okay, I'm going to try this. So, what's my favorite movie? So, say your favorite movie was Dirty Dancing. So, I would say build your plate like Dirty Dancing. Okay. So, like Patrick Swayze, there is no Dirty Dancing without him. So, he's the protein. He's taking up
I
a lot of
love
room.
this.
He's
Yeah.
taking up a lot of room on the plate. And then
Yep.
Baby, there's no Dirty Dancing without Baby. So, she's the veg. Bring her in. Boom.
Yeah.
She's the vegetable. Now, Baby's dad, other dancers, hotel guests, hotel management, all very important to Dirty Dancing, but they're not the stars. Baby and Swayze are the stars. So they're your starchy carbohydrates. You want them, You want to have them, but they're
Mhm.
not taking up as much room as the baby and Swayze. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's the easiest way to do it. Without getting into that minutia of measuring and
Yeah.
weighing
The
and things
deck
like
of
that.
cards, the size of my palm, the size of my fist.
Yeah,
Don't do all of
the
that.
right,
I would
the
much rather think about Dirty Dancing and coming in hot
portion
and a
measure.
lift over the
Right.
head. It's gonna feel so good.
Yeah. Just be like, oh my God, it's
Nice.
crazy.
I love that analogy. That's a new one for me. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
All
I would
right, perfect.
start easy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sturdy.
Moving along.
I think we should do that with everything, right? Like if
Yeah.
you go in whole hog, this is my new life, this is what I'm doing, and you try to do an about face,
No,
it's never going to work. You are never going to sustain that. It is all about incremental change.
it's over by Thursday, by the way.
Exactly. If you made it to Thursday, you
If
probably
you made it
didn't.
to Thursday.
Perfect. All right, so let's talk movement. So
Okay.
now I'm guessing we're gonna like prepare for some Ironman
No,
triathlon or something insane.
just like with food, low hanging fruit and a little goes a long way. First of all, y'all, walking is amazing. Walking is the new running. Okay. And
Yeah, I'm
I'm
here
not,
for it.
yeah. And I am not talking that crazy power walking with weights and huffing and puffing. I mean, leisure walking.
Okay, so it's not the Olympic speed walking trials. That's not what's happening here.
Preferably, by the way,
Mhm.
preferably in nature.
Yes, 100%.
And the thing is, you think like a 10-minute walk isn't going to do anything? Let me tell you about it. Oh, shoot. I tried to click the link and it won't. How dare you? Okay. Well, anyway, just so you know, steps, postprandial, that means after meals. There's a couple big things you must know. Steps and people who exercise, your exercise metabolism, your exercise metabolic activity improves with easy steps. Okay. It's been proven. Okay. If you are sedentary is basically like sedentary and no sleep is like the new smoking, by the way.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
For steps, we know exercise improves metabolic activity and fat burn postprandial after meals. This post-exercise fat burn can be impeded with sedentary behavior. This is called exercise resistance. The
Mm.
PubMed study, okay, fat metabolism, which means breaking down fats that are eaten, didn't look great for people who took 2,500 to 5,000 steps a day. But once a person got over 8,000 steps, like in the 8,500 step range, that improved their fat metabolism. That's how you're breaking down the fats you're consuming.
Isn't that interesting?
So like 8,500 steps a day, it was a safe minimum. Like, but if you come from a chronic exercising, dieting background like me, don't be a nut, don't ruin it.
Right.
Because you're going to make it worse.
Yeah.
If I say, hey, like, let's shoot for some more steps. I don't want you shooting for 20,000 steps.
It's always more, always more.
You need to titrate up slowly with anything else you do, because here's the thing with steps, you guys. Steps do a couple things. It's like 3 for 1, 3 birds, 1 stone. Number 1, if you are having existing gut issues, if you have a problem digesting, if things are going on GI, okay, and maybe they have been for a long time, movement after the meal, that's postprandial, helps with digestion. That's 1. Number 2, when you walk outside in nature, it naturally de-stresses the body and takes you out of that fight or flight.
Yep.
It's very, as long as the walking isn't kooky, like I just said, as long as it's normal, nice walking in nature. Like, did you ever see like a mom walking and like the baby's toddling all over the place and the puppy's not fast, kind of a mess? That's being very present. That's very mindful. And the thing is, it is completely de-stressing your system. Not only that, here you are now in daytime sun, which is just as important, almost as important as that morning sun. So we're getting sunlight, we're getting steps, and we're helping digestion. It's like a win-win.
It is
The
the
problem with
trifecta.
steps are they're not sexy.
Yep.
They don't think they're hard enough. That's not
Yep.
hard enough. I need to do burpees and jumps and this and that. I
Yeah.
haven't burpeed or jumped in probably 2 years.
Oh, I love that so much because I can't stand them.
I
Can't
know
stand
you
them.
hate them.
I do. Knees, like major knee repairs, any kind
No,
of impact is not a thing I love. You're not going to see me
no,
run. It looks ridiculous. Even if I have to run to like save my life, it's not going to look good.
right.
But walking is a thing that I absolutely love doing.
Yeah. And you
Mhm.
guys, a little can go a long way. Say you're stuck at a desk all day. You can do Dr. Jade, it's his word. He
Yep.
calls them exercise snacks. Okay. And you can do these short little bursts. Like, so if you're sedentary, stuck at your desk all day, you could set a timer on your phone to go up at once an hour. You could just get up for 20 seconds and do whatever you want to do. Like if you want to do a
Yep.
couple jumping jacks, go ahead. If you just want to walk to the water fountain and back, go ahead.
Yeah.
A little's going to go a long way. And what you want to do is you want to see where you're starting. So most everybody wears a tracker. Even if you just wear an Apple Watch for fashion and fun,
Mhm.
it's still tracking your data. It's still tracking your steps. So what you do is you look at where you are. So, oh, geez, 2,800, 3,100, 2,300, 2,200, 2,100. So you look at like 5 or 6 days, and then you say to yourself, you take the average and say your average is 22, 24, okay, for the week. So you just say to yourself, 2,200 steps a day. I think next week I'm going to try for 3,000 a day.
Mhm.
So then next week, maybe you try for 3,000 every day. Maybe you hit it. And then you say to yourself, okay, well, next week I'm going to try for 3,500. Well, guess what? In 12 weeks, you're going to be well over 10,000 steps. Like, it's crazy. And like, look, I had this client, she did everything and she would not stop exercising. She would not stop exercising. And she was stuck. She could not lose weight. Well, guess what? She ended up losing her job. So she fired me, which is fine. She didn't like fire me. She couldn't,
Mhm.
she was like, I can't do this anymore. And I'm like, oh my God, I completely get it. So she got a job as a mailman, delivering the mail.
Yep.
She didn't have any time to exercise because it put her on a different schedule now. She had to get rides for her children. She had
Yep.
to get everything done at the house, but she had to be at the post office at 7 o'clock in the morning. Sis lost 20 pounds.
Yep.
20.
Amazing. What a difference.
Walking. That's it. And like I said, we make things so hard. Like you could just get up from your desk chair, sit down 10 times. You're doing a perfect squat. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It
Mhm.
can be whatever appeals to you. It doesn't have to be what somebody on Instagram says is this is how you get the perfect body.
Oh,
That's not
yeah,
the
yeah.
case.
We're not
That
doing
person's
those.
dumping their insecurities on you.
Right.
No,
Right.
to walk is to win any way you want to do it
Oh, I love
on
that. To
your
walk is to
schedule.
win. I love that.
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks.
I love that so much. How about strength training? Do you
Yeah.
think what do we need to do there? Or do we?
That's yeah, we do. We need to do strength training, but we need to do it smart. We don't want to do a bunch
Yep.
of circus workouts. We want to do repetitive, traditional, same old, same old. And what you're looking for is to progressively overload your muscles. Okay,
Mhm.
so like, you're going to be doing a plan for an enormous amount of time, and maybe you start at home and you're holding 10 pounds. Okay,
Mhm.
well, I'm hoping in 6 weeks you're holding 20.
Yep.
We're progressively overloading in a very safe way. This is extremely important for women in menopause and perimenopause because you are losing bone density.
Mhm.
Okay. You are losing muscle mass because you're aging, because of your dropping estrogen and progesterone.
Mhm.
The worst thing, I'll tell you the truth. If you come to me to work with me in menopause and you would like a deficit, you don't get one. You do get a nice strength training plan.
Mm. Yeah.
I won't even give a deficit.
Yep.
No.
It makes perfect sense. And let's
Yeah.
talk about, we don't really need to talk about, but like there's a thing too, where if you are strength training, you are creating muscle mass, which is
Mhm,
actually smaller. And so
mhm.
your weight might go up, but your size will
Yeah,
come down. And that's
right.
perfectly fine. You're stronger, your
Yeah,
balance is better,
yeah.
you are going to have more
Nobody cares
energy,
about weight.
you can eat in a way that makes you happy. There's so much great stuff that happens there. So much good stuff.
Ladies, this is not ninth grade gym class. Nobody gives a shit about weight. Okay.
Right, right.
Nobody gives a shit what you weigh. No one. There's not
Yep.
one person out there that goes home and says, "Oh my God,
Do you know how
what
much
do you
she
think she is?
weighs?
Like 135 or something?" If they do,
Yeah, we don't need them. We don't want them in our life.
trust and believe that is somebody you want to run away from. That is the most, they're mentally ill. That is the
Yeah.
most insane. Like, I can't ever
Mhm.
remember a time that somebody's weight like captivated me for the day.
Right,
Oh my God.
right.
Like, she said,
Yeah,
no, nobody
right.
gives a shit what you weigh. No one.
And then, so I think especially with younger people, there's this great
Right.
movement that I am absolutely loving where strength is really important to them.
Yeah.
Muscle definition is really
Yes.
important to them. I love that so much. And I think that might be
Bigger the
a,
better.
yeah, and I think
That's
that
what
is
they
a thing
think.
that came out of COVID in terms of like mental health and
Yeah.
coping strategies for these kids,
Yes.
and I love it. But I still think that women
Yes.
that are closer to our age are like, "Oh, I can't lift weights, that I can't like define my muscles like that. I'm gonna be a bodybuilder." And ladies, I have to tell you, it takes a whole lot of effort to build muscle mass as a woman. That like you have to be spot on with your nutrition and you have to load in a way that we are not going to be doing. So define the
No.
freaking muscles. Like you're gonna feel great.
Yeah. Until you want, like, I mean, unless that's the look you get with the coach that can get you there. But
Sure.
like for
It takes a
us,
lot of effort
for
though.
lifestyle, like
Yeah.
I'm a lifestyle coach. I'm not,
Mhm.
that isn't me.
Mhm.
Like I would refer you out if those were your if those were lofty goals for you, because I'm just not well versed enough in that life. But there's,
Yeah.
but
Sure.
no, we just
Yeah.
want to do, I'll tell you what, I just want to go into menopause, look good in my jeans, and be able to keep up with my kid, who
Yep.
at times is an a-hole.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? Yeah,
Yes.
it's true story though. This is really at the end of the day because
Yeah.
how did we get here? It is about self-care. It is about taking care of yourself so that you can show up for the world better.
Yes.
So that is what we're doing at the end of the day.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, anything else exercise that we need to talk about? What about routines? Like how important is it? How many days every day? What do we need to do?
It depends on you. So it has
Yeah.
to work for you, because remember, we're extremely, extremely sensitive to stress as we age as women. So that's very individual. So you want to look at your schedule and you want to look at this new life you're trying to build for yourself, and you want to say to yourself, realistically, how many days a week do I have to work out and what time? How long
Mhm.
do I want to spend doing this? And then that's something you have to communicate to somebody. I am working with a lady now. She said, realistically, 2 days a week, 40 minutes. Cool.
Do
Here's
it.
your 2 day a week full body plan for 37 minutes. Enjoy it.
I love it.
It has to work for
Yep.
you.
Yep.
It has to be like, we get these plans or something that we buy, and it's like, Tanya, I know you can
Mhm.
because you're really good with the bar.
Mhm.
I'm a woman who's not great with the bar, you guys.
Oh, I love heavy lifting. Love it.
Yeah, it makes me nauseous. It just never has appealed to me. Now I'll do a
Yep.
dumbbell till I'm, nauseous, but
Yep.
it's, so whoever's
Mhm.
doing your planning or whatever you plan for yourself, start with very basic things that you like.
Yep.
Make it
Yeah.
doable.
And
And
try
there,
try new things. Like you're
yeah,
what works for you doesn't work for
yeah,
me, doesn't work for the next person.
no,
You have to try it out and figure out what it is. And then
yeah,
I think that goes back to what you're saying in terms of like your schedule and your lifestyle, but also what are you going to sustain? So it goes back to what we were talking about in
yeah,
nutrition. Like
yes,
if you make this plan on Sunday night that this is your new life and it is going to be too much and
no,
overwhelming, on day
done,
one, you're going to be like, okay, I hit my mark. On day two, you're going to be like, oh, I only hit 75% of the mark. On day three, so this is by what are we at? Tuesday, Wednesday, you're
yeah,
like, well, son of a bitch, like I
Wait
had to
for it,
work
like,
late, or the kid got in my way, or like something happened. And so
yeah,
I couldn't do it. So I might as well now have that bowl of ice cream or
yep,
that extra snack, and then
yep,
by Thursday, you don't feel good because you didn't eat well. So you didn't sleep well. So it's back to that evil cycle. And so
yep,
why not just start where you're at and add a little bit at a time?
yeah, just a little.
Let's do that.
Little
Let's
dose
do
will
that.
do ya, y'all.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
love
do
it.
anything right
And
now. We're not
also
out
don't
just
listen to
to go.
everybody else, because what works for
No,
your mom is
don't
not
listen to anybody.
necessarily going to work for you. What works for your partner is definitely not going to be what works for you. And
No,
what is working for your kid is not going to work for
no.
you.
And the minute somebody loses 10 pounds, that is a person who thinks they can put me out of business. So she has absolutely no idea
Yeah,
what she's talking about.
no,
There's so
no.
many other things, and you guys, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to go home to my child. We can't be on this Zoom all night, but like, I'll tell you how things affect your total daily energy expenditure. There are things that you have done for years that are affecting how you're actually burning calories while at rest.
Hmm.
There's so many things that go into play: your metabolism, your hormones, your dropping hormones, your raised hormones, like things that are elevated. This is
Hmm.
just like, this is just us scratching the surface to go
Yeah.
into more wellness.
Yeah, 100%. And you're right. It is just, this is where we start. You make
Yeah.
small changes and then
Yes.
you find the people that you
Small.
need to work with. Mindset
Yes.
is everything. Make sure that you are thinking about this from the positive standpoint of, this is what I get to do for me and for the people that I love and the people that I care about, so that I show up the way that I should be.
I love that.
Me too. In hindsight, there was no way Elisa and I could get together and talk about something this important without it going for way more than an hour. She is amazing. Her contact information is in the show notes, so follow her, sign up for her email. Elisa shares awesome, tangible, doable strategies. And then, if you haven't seen it, I am hosting the Empower Her Self-Care Summit. It is free and it launches on September 29th. You do not want to miss this. There will be a bunch of expert speakers all sharing some really good stuff. So head over to my website, www.drtanyab.com, and get yourself registered. The link is in the notes. I will see you next week.